Insist on ordering food, despite having the wrong number? Fine by me. This happened when I still lived with my parents over 20 years ago. In a small town just outside a small city. As a teenager with a bit of social anxiety, I would spend most Friday and Saturday nights at home. Watching movies. Playing Lego or computer games. Often my parents would go out into the city as there was nothing to do in the town. So I would be home alone until late at night. Our landline phone number was very similar to that of the local Chinese takeaway and taxi company. I won't give the exact numbers, but to give an idea, our house was 122,222. The Chinese takeaway was 122,221 and the taxi firm was 122,122. So in a Friday, Saturday night drunken state, it was very easy to misdial. 99% of callers would apologize once advised they had the wrong number, and I would even be able to tell them the correct number to dial. The 1%, however. The instance that I recall and fits this sub goes as follows. Me. Hello? Caller. Hi. I'd like to order 1 sweet and sour. 1 chow mein. Me. Interrupting. I'm sorry, this is the wrong number, caller. No. This is the Chinese. Although they used a common racist term often used back in the far from politically correct 90s. Northeastern ex-mining villages. Me. I'm sorry, it really isn't. You need to call 12. Caller. Interrupting. Yes, it is. So take my order now. Quite rude and forceful. Me. Fine. What do you want, caller? Gives order me. Okay. Are you collecting or want this delivered? Caller. Delivered. And quickly. Me. Okay. It'll be about 30 minutes. Hangs up. 45 minutes later the phone rings. I answer and there is one hangry customer on the phone. Me. I'm sorry. You didn't leave your address for the delivery and 1471 didn't work. UK readers will know this. But it's basically a service to call back your last received caller. So we waited for you to call back. Food will be another 30 minutes. Ask for address and hangs up. 45 minutes later. Another hangry call received. Only this time they were a little drunker and ruder. I fess up that I've been stringing them along. But they insisted that I was a Chinese takeaway and ordered me to take their order again. Unfortunately, at this point the restaurant was now closed. So I guess they went to bed without their food. They never called back. So hopefully they learned a lesson too. Our number used to be 1 digit off from the local bar. Only one in our small town. We got a lot of wrong numbers, but the worst were wives who thought we were covering for their husbands. I kept a coach's whistle next to phone for those that kept calling back and who got really abusive. My work number is similar to a local GP number, so I get some interesting calls. How quickly can I explain to the caller I am not their GP before they try to tell me what is wrong with them? I had a number in college that was one number off from a large Mart's pharmacy department. Got enough messages and calls to my answering machine that I ended up adding, "This is not the L Mart pharmacy. Please hang up and try dialing again." I still got occasional messages left from people wanting refills. One day I answer, "Hello," and get a woman asking to be transferred to the pharmacy. I tell her I'm sorry, but she has the wrong number. She yells, "Fine, then just transfer me to the pharmacy." I told her I can't because this is a private residence and she dialed the wrong number. She huffs and hangs up on me. I changed my outgoing answering machine message to state, "This is a residence, not the L Mart pharmacy." People still left messages. Lol. Love it. I worked at a company once. I wanna say almost 10 years ago. And for some reason, they gave us all in the IT department cell phones. I mean, I get that some people in IT needed them. But most of us didn't. My buddy in the cube next to me? Well, It turns out that his work cell number apparently was once the phone number of an escort service. He'd get some particularly odd voicemail messages. Not clear if he ever picked up for one of those customers. But man, I now kinda hope he might have messed with people a bit with it. I had the same thing happen with a fast food restaurant. A mom would constantly call at 6 a.m. to say her son was too sick to come to work, and each time I would tell her she had the wrong number. She would then argue with me that this was the number in the phone book. It wasn't, but hang up and call the right number when I gave it to her. One day I was dealing with a migraine and she calls. This time I acted like the restaurant and say okay. And I hope he feels better soon. A couple days later he was fired BCUZ of no show, no call, and she calls me, cussing me out for getting her kid fired. I told her as many times I had to tell her she had the wrong number. I'm surprised he could find his way out from under the covers in the morning, and if she called again I was going to call the police for harassment. I once got a call at home for the store I worked at. No idea how, since it was nothing at all like the store's number. She started off okay. Just asked what hours we were open. I told her. Then she wanted me to fuzzy memory here, as this was almost 50 years ago. Either go in the back and see if her order was in, or see if X was in stock and set some aside for her. Neither of which I could do, since in the back would have been our bedroom and her widget certainly wouldn't have been there. I explained, and she got abusive, so I just hung up. When I was in high school, one of my classmates had a phone number that was one digit off from mine. His parents were divorced and he lived with his mom. His dad would often drunkenly call late at night and leave long rambling answering machine messages for his mom. We never bothered correcting him or passing the messages along. I'm pretty sure that was best for everyone involved. I had an automated dentist call robot call me a bunch about 8 years ago while in Calgary. I would respond to the thing saying wrong number and I'm not a client at your dentist, etc. It never got past the robot, so I got sick of it and booked an appointment for 9:30 on a Saturday. When they called I told them they has been harassing me for 6 months and this is what they get for using crappy automation. My grandparents' number was one digit off of our small town Domino's. We would all tell people politely they have the wrong number. And most of the time that worked. Sometimes it didn't. The result really depended on who picked up the phone. Us grandkids would string them along. We were lactose intolerant kids in the 80s and resented the pizza-eating normies. My grandfather was a pillar of the community, and he knew everyone to one degree or another. If you called his house drunk and obstinate, he would call your parents, grandparents, manager and express his kindest concerns that you weren't doing too well. Meanwhile, my phone number is super similar to Mike's, who seems to be really interested in getting an extended car warranty. Years ago, I kept getting phone calls from same dude asking for Beth over a span of 2 weeks. After 4 or 5 bitter calls where I was sure Beth was there and just didn't talk to him, I told him, Beth can't talk now. She's busy giving me a BJ. I will let her know when she's done. Ah called back immediately. I answered, sorry. She's still not done. Hung up and blocked the number. I truly live for this shit. When I lived in the Chicago area nearly 20 years ago, my first cell phone number, for only a few months, was 829-4222. Looks like a perfectly innocuous number, right? Maybe even a good number. Because of the repeating too. Well, it wasn't, because it spells taxicab. And that was the phone number for the main taxi company for the city, but I had a different area code. And this was before smartphones and being able to set up Do Not Disturb for the hours you normally sleep. It didn't take too many evenings, weekends of drunks trying to get a cab in the middle of the night before I got it changed to something else, any other number. I didn't care. I also recommended to the cell phone company that they permanently discontinue the number so that no one else would have to go through that. Many years ago, my family had recently adopted 2 new kittens. One day soon after, a woman calls and my mom answered. The woman on the line says she's heard we have some kittens. My mom confirms we do. Feeling very confused. And the woman says she would like one of them. My mom says, well, no, they're ours. After some further discussion, the woman realized instead of calling the local veterinarian, she had dialed wrong and called us instead. Very funny coincidence, we just happened to have new kittens at the time of the call. My old cell phone number ended in 4 identical digits. Like 5555. So every now and then I'd get calls from people who intended to call 555X but dialed 5555X by mistake. Best were those asking when we'd be delivering their ordered mattresses. I feel this so much. Mine is area code issues. One number is a doctor's office, the other is a dog groomer, dog hotel. My voicemail says, hi. You've reached the personal cell phone of Bufub 14435. If you are trying to reach a business, you have the wrong number. And I still get people that leave messages. Friend of a friend had a family landline that was a couple of transposed digits away from a local taxi company. About the only time I was at his house for a party, it was quite an odd experience to come out of the bathroom and hear him directing someone on the phone to stand under a certain sign and wait. It happened so often, and with belligerent drunks, that the whole family would just take the calls and ask them to do something stupid while they waited to be picked up. I once got a call from some kid who said, "Hi mom," and I said, "Sorry, I'm not your mother," and without missing a beat he replied, "No, I think it is. Mom, can we get McDonald's?" Like, no, I promise I'm not your mom. We got this at my old house, but the number was for a funeral parlor. I will say now I never took advantage of grieving widows etc., as that's morally wrong, but we did have one woman call up screaming that the funeral company used the wrong flowers. Our landline is a 1 number different from a blood bank. We used to get calls with blood requests. My DOS used to love answering them while role-playing as a vampire. This reminds me of my first apartment. We were 1 number off the local cable television company. To make matters worse, if the cable number was 555-7300, we were 555-7301. So people thought they could avoid the automated system, and by dialing our number, they could get a human.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.